Hello and welcome back. We are in our last conversation of today. We are live on the floor at RSA Conference 2023. I am excited to have this conversation with Robert M. Lee. He's a SANS senior instructor, globally recognized ICS security expert. Welcome to the booth, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Good to finally meet you in real life.
In person, yeah. That's the thing with SANS, right?
That's
We
dope.
all work
I feel
together
like I
and then
know you.
never in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you liking RSA so far?
I'm always a big fan of RSA, actually, and have been for years. I think there's like a lot of people that are like, oh, RSA, and like, dude, like it's where everyone is. There's good conversations.
Yes.
Like, of course, the focus of the trade show, not the talks, but it's absolutely good just to connect with everybody. It's like a high school reunion in some ways. So
have you had a chance to walk the floor?
Yeah, yep. Definitely been walking around and meeting folks, and nice to be over here at the SANS booth and see like a lot of my old students and stuff. So it's fun.
Anything jumping out at you that you weren't expecting?
No, it's still all the vendor marketing stuff still there. You know, AI and blockchain and NFTs and we'll save the world. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. So no, there's still that stupid stuff. But for the rest of it, there's like some really good companies and really good things going on. And again, it's just nice to see everybody.
Absolutely. So yesterday you delivered a presentation on the industrial cyber threat landscape year in review. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So basically the talk was based on our year in review report. So we always publish once a year this free report on kind of like all of our insights about threats, vulnerabilities, and assessments that we do out in the industrial community. And why I think it's actually important, why I like it, is when I started in this field, everything was anecdotal. Like there was no like, here's the data, here's the evidence, here's what it was all like, I know a guy who knew a guy that saw an attack. You know, it was like, okay, dude, whatever. And so that led to a lot of IT security controls getting placed into these operations environments that were not done to reduce risk. It was, this can be safely applied, not that it should be applied. It was like, this can be there without breaking it, not this is actually reducing risk. And so the year in review allows us to just take a step back from all the anecdotal crap and say, here's what we're actually seeing. Here's the ground truth reality of what threats are doing. And I think that helps people really get to like what controls they want to do. And it blends in nicely with the paper Tim Conway and I published at the SANS Institute about a couple months ago, which was the 5 critical controls for ICS security. So instead of do all these things and think about, 100 things you have to do, here's like the 5 you really got to go do. And so that paper combined with the insights that come out of the presentation yesterday puts a real nice roadmap for folks on security controls that are validated, valuable, and have a good possibility to return on investment.
What's the reception been to the talk?
The talk, it was packed room. Everyone was super cool. Like, I think that's one of the good things about being in the industrial community anyways, is it is a community.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of support from people. So yeah, it was good.
Early and often, I'm going to plug the ICS Summit.
Yeah, please.
What's happening next week?
So SANS ICS Summit's next week. It's my favorite conference of the year, tied. One of my 2 favorite conferences of the year. And Tim Conway and I are co-chairs, and so we build out the agenda and work with folks. But it is the largest gathering of the practitioners from asset owners and operators. So like there's other ICS conferences that are bigger, but we keep it focused on, for the most part, asset owners and operators who's actually out in the field doing the work.
Yeah.
And so not only is it kind of that reunion kind of feel every year, but it's really, really practical content, not pitches and things like that. And it's a Disney World. So like, how can you be upset being in Disney World? You know, like every year we do it. And yeah, there'll be like bar nights and things like that, but SANS is really family friendly. And so we have one night that's just for the kids and stuff with like milkshake stations and all that. So it's like one of those conferences you can take your families to if you have a family that you want to bring.
Important
I guess I should say,
piece,
if you have a family,
bring your own
bring.
kid.
Yeah. So you can BYOK if you want. And it's just a good time. It's also, it's like one of the things that SANS does that's actually like super price affordable. Like real quick to hit on that awkward elephant. Like the summit, I think, is like $600 or $700 or something. And the Disney Contemporary Hotel that we stay at is $800 a night. But because of SANS, it's $300 and something a night.
Wow.
And you can extend it after the conference.
That's nice.
So it's like, it
makes
pays
sense.
for
Yeah,
itself
yeah,
if you just want to go have a Disney vacation. It's super cool. Yeah.
That's really awesome. So as an expert in the OT ICS space, what do you think is most misunderstood about this area of security?
I think a lot of people approach those environments and go, look, they're legacy and unpatched and vulnerable, whatever. And that's just bias. Like, people are bringing their IT security bias into OT. So the most misunderstood thing, in my opinion, is you got to learn the mission of that site. You got to learn, like, what are they trying to accomplish? What threats do they face? Then what security controls make sense, not just bringing copy and pasting IT security crap in there. And then the other thing I would say that's just really interesting is it's truly an executive board and like presidential level topic in the sense that for years, executives have been investing in cybersecurity at the companies, not knowing that like 98% of that's been going to the website, not the gas turbine control system. You know what I mean? Like so no CEO or CFO is confused about where they generate revenue, and no government is confused about what contributes to national security. So you are seeing a dialogue happen at a truly executive level on OT security that even normal IT cybersecurity doesn't get.
While we're talking, I'm going to have our team throw up a poll real quick on, and if you're tuning in, feel free to jump into this poll. You can hop over to slido.com, tap in via the code on the screen or scan the QR code. We'd love your input on.
Hey, Elizabeth. I don't know. There's like people chatting towards me. So.
Yeah, and drop us a hello if you're watching us live. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We've been talking with people all across the globe throughout the day, but we'd love your input on what you perceive to be the most significant threat today in OT ICS environments. So share your thoughts there. Let's see. We have. I'm gonna switch gears. About a month ago, you were called to the U.S. Senate to give a testimony about cybersecurity vulnerabilities. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how you became actively involved.
Yeah,
this isn't your first time, right?
No.
You did this 5 years ago?
Yeah. So I testified in 2018 in the same committee, then testified to the House, I think last year, and then got called back to testify to the Energy Committee in the Senate again, like last month. And I think it always fills me with pride. I hate to be like all apple pie and American flags and eagles in the background all the time, but like testifying to the people's representatives, you got to have a little bit of pride in doing that. And I think a lot of people think about Congress and like the, Democrat, Republican, and then, all the non-bipartisanship that can take place, or all the partisanship that can take place. But like, that's a lot in the media. And I'm not saying the media is making it worse. I'm saying they play to the media in person. Like, they're really bipartisan on a lot of topics.
Yeah.
Energy security being one of them, and cybersecurity being one of them. They may disagree with like how to do it, but they agree with like, here's why we care and what we're focused on. So you'll see people that on news channels are fighting with each other, and in person they're laughing and joking in those committees. Like, it makes you proud, right?
Yeah.
I wish more Americans could see how they operate when the cameras are off, because you do take a little bit of pride with it. And yeah, they're just heavily concerned about OT security, like the critical part of critical infrastructure, national security requirements. And this time I felt like I was a little bit more direct. The first time I was like, okay, sir, ma'am, a little bit polished. It's not like, no, that's stupid. No, that was not going to work. I was just a little bit straightforward. And they liked it, and we talked afterwards. And so that was,
I was curious about that. Like, so what happens after you deliver that testimony?
Yeah, so there's like follow-on questions and conversations and things. Because again, like, congressmen don't want to do testimonies just for like news bites. Like, that's not what they're doing. They are going to write legislation. They're going to make a policy, and they're holding committees on things that they and their staff are going to focus on. And so it's very genuine, the questions they ask. I mean, every now and then you'll get one that's for like the media, but like, it's very genuine. And after, they are working on policy, and so there's follow-ups and so forth. And when both Republicans and Democrats come up to me afterwards, like, hey man, thanks, that was wonderful, so glad you did that. Like, that's good feedback. And again, I think a lot of times they get like these super polished answers, and like, you don't actually know what the person wants. And so the fact that I was just like, hey, here's what it is.
Right.
The feedback I got was they very much appreciated it.
That's awesome. So, I mean, is that something that do you feel intimidated in the moment when you're doing that?
No. I think I usually joke with people that no one's ever had to wonder my opinion. I feel like I'm pretty candid and direct. And so if you are giving your genuine opinion on subjects that you actually have knowledge on, there's nothing to be intimidated by. If you are giving an opinion that's not yours, and your court comms and media folks wrote it, you're probably going to be intimidated. Or if you're talking on areas outside your expertise, like they started talking about some things, and in the testimony, I was like, hey, that's not actually my focus area. There's nothing wrong with saying that, but if you're like, if you're pretending, you should be really nervous because you're getting called out on a national stage.
100%.
But if you're just like, I treat it in the same way that I treat my SANS classes. Yes, I know they're senators. Yes, it's an honor to be there, blah, 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 blah. But they're smart people trying to learn and make decisions. It's the same in being in the classroom setting. And so I think SANS has prepared me well to just not care about that and just try to be genuine. So it was fun.
That's awesome. Want to give a plug to your SANS classes?
Yeah, of course. I want to do that. So for those out there that are unfamiliar with it, I've got two courses I authored at SANS. One is the ICS 515, which is like network monitoring, visibility, like instant response in industrial environments. And the other one is Forensics 578, which is the cyber threat intelligence course. The CTI course is the one that's like super popular because like pretty much anybody should take it in the security industry because it's really a class about thinking about how to think.
Yep.
And so it's just applicable even if you're not in CTI. The ICS course, you should only take if you're doing security operations, IR, that kind of stuff in industrial environments.
Sidekick here earlier talking.
Yeah.
Katie was here with us
I
earlier
love
today.
Katie. Yeah, Katie's one of our 578 instructors, and she's
Yes.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
Good stuff, man. Well, listen, I appreciate you coming, rocking with me for a little bit, chatting it up.
Of course.
Hope that all goes well for the rest of the time you're here, and good luck with the ICS Summit.
Yeah, thanks. And for those people that haven't signed up for the ICS Summit, I will note it's the virtual portion you can still sign up for. You're not going to get all the talks, like it's free, so we try to protect some material is kind of sensitive, and so we want to keep it there. But if you're remote and virtual, you can sign up for free for some of the talks, and I would hit the keynotes. For security reasons, we can't say who the day 2 keynote is. But I would tell you the talk title that's public is Defending Critical Infrastructure in a War. So it shouldn't be all that surprising of like what it's going to be about.
Yeah.
But we just, for OPSEC purposes, I'm not going to get into right now. You don't want to miss that one.
Yes.
You can skip my talk, skip Tim's talk, all these other talks.
Don't skip those talks.
You do not want to skip the one that you can get virtually. Like, you should sign up for it. It's the second day keynote. It is going to be very, 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 very good, and something that you will never see anywhere else. It's a Tim Conway, Rob Lee special. Love
that. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you rocking with us.